Almighty God, we offer our prayers to you and seek your protection for everyone in our blessed country. We pray, O God, for you to protect us from harm and sickness, so that we may have the strength to look after one another. O merciful Lord, we pray that you will continue to bless our land and those who cultivate our crops, so that there may always be food. We pray that no one will ever go hungry. Grant us understanding, equal vision, and balanced minds. Guide us along a path of faith, devotion, and wisdom. Help us to recognize that each of us is equal, that we are all equal in humanity. Give us your protection so that we may live in safety together and grow strong and free together. We pray that everyone will find love and peace in their daily lives. Dear God, we pray for our political leader. We pray for members of this team. Protect them, God, and give them the strength and courage to continue their service to our nation without fear or favor. Thank you, God, for keeping your children free in our democratic state, where every creed and race finds an equal place. Dear God, we beseech you to bless our leaders, bless our people, and bless our country.
Father God, it's me again. Father God, it's me, your son again. Father,
this is the virtual campaign. On the ballot. Why wait? The time is now.
Go this time. Father God, I make them fight me so hard. I look at things to me.
This is the virtual campaign. On the ballot now. Member of Parliament for Sawa Barataria, Dr. Ford Khan.
My dear constituents of Barataria San Juan, it is imperative of me to say thank you ever so much for your support in the last 23 years. I came to you as a young man in 1995, and you supported me through thick and thin, through everything. I was there, you were there, and we did it together. I'm now 65 years old, and like all elderly statesmen, I have become a little tired. And sometimes when you are tired, you have to take a sabbatical. In any academic situations, a sabbatical is necessary. And I have decided to take my sabbatical now. Elections come every 5 years. It's just that I want to take my sabbatical in this election. And with your help, maybe in the future, we could do it again. I want to say thank you for the support. And I don't want you to think that I'm gone forever. I just want you to be there to support the newcomer for the United National Congress, to support the political leader. And I want you to be there to support whoever comes forward for United National Congress. Because I will be there, not as your candidate this time, but I will be there. And I do know that his time will heal all actions. And we will move forward, because right now, Trinidad is in a crisis. And we need the youth, the exuberance of youth, with stamina, with strength, with fortitude, and with stick-to-itiveness, as you have done with me over the last 25 years. Quarter of a century we have been together, and I thank you. I know it will be a disappointment for some of you all, as it is, in a way, with my tiredness, but I am only human, and I love you all as you all have loved me. And I will continue to serve you all, and I will continue to be there for the United National Congress and the political leader. I will continue moving forward and moving this country forward. And as you all know, I have a sobriquet called Rashji. Rashji will be around. Fuad Khan will be around, vocal. And you could come to me for anything in assistance, surgical, medical, financial. I'll be there with you all in the future. It is just that I'm taking a sabbatical, a little holiday from this election. And I want you to support my political leader and support United National Congress and support the new candidate, because he's one of us and you are one of me. And for that I want to say good night. And life takes you on a different journey each time. And the journey of life for me now is a bit of a holdback. Until we meet again, sayonara.
Father God, it's me again. Father God, it's me, your son again.
This is the virtual campaign. On the ballot. Why wait? The time is now.
Go this time. Father God, I make them fight me so hard. I look at things to me no go hard.
This is the virtual campaign. On the ballot now. Marsha Walker Riley.
Good evening to the Honourable Political Leader, to my colleagues, and to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you for taking the time to tune in to our virtual meeting. It's been just about 2 weeks since I was named as the David to take on Goliath for the honourable position of Member of Parliament for Diego Martin West. In those 2 weeks, it has been cemented to me that the incumbent MP obviously has been caught up with everything else except serving the very people to whom he promised to serve. If ever I doubted that change was needed, the last 2 weeks have removed any doubt that I had. Uncle Kirk, who lives 1 minute away from the constituency office, has never seen his representative. 29 years as MP, and he has never met that family once. It makes me wonder if he ever cared to walk the area. Further up the road on Garlock Street, residents complain of the security risk that a river presents, and when I looked into the situation, it would easily be solved by a $10,000 chain link fence. Seriously? 29 years. You have the resources that come with holding the most powerful position in the land. And a $10,000 chain link fence can't go up. Now let's head across to Point Cumana. And a big businessman from the area tears down the double structure that's been there for the last 16 years. And no one cares to bridge the gap and find a solution that can work for all involved. Just imagine what carnage would look like if we had representation that had the ability to relate to both sides of this story and the will and the resources to bring about a win-win solution. What's left to think when a member of parliament has had 29 uninterrupted years to effect change in a constituency? 29 years to implement policies that will bridge the ever-widening gap between the upper income earners and those who seem to be earning less and less every day. 29 years to help single mothers in the area, but instead has chosen his influence to slur insults about their bedroom behavior. Almost 30 years to bring an end to the killing of our young men due to rival gangs. But instead of taking the time to understand the fabric of these situations and solving the problem at the root cause, he has chosen to call them cockroaches. Imagine the hope we felt when the member of parliament became the political leader. For sure resources would come our way, if we put him into the Prime Minister's office. So we gave it one final shot. But 5 years later, and our garbage still is not collected. 5 years later, and water is still a luxury item for some. No real programs to solve issues of moms going to work at nights with no one to look after their children. When was the last time a question was raised by the incumbent member of parliament on behalf of the people of Diego Martin West? One would think we would have been among the first to enjoy one of those conversations with the Prime Minister. Have you ever given a child something that they've been begging for, only to have them mistreat it after receiving the very thing they bugged you for? It reminds me of those boys I knew growing up. Chase girls, only to use, abuse, and dispose of them after the chase. Is this what we were? A chase? Another accomplishment to tick off? Another chapter to add to the story to ensure that the book was a bestseller? Dr. Rowley's behavior as an MP has been unacceptable. But even worse has been his behavior as a Prime Minister. I was asked why now? Why did I choose to get involved now? A young family, a new marriage. Why take on such a task now? The answer is simple. In fact, I can sum it up in one word: Venezuela. Less than 10 years ago, US Senator Bernie Sanders declared that Venezuelans were living the American dream better than Americans themselves. 10 years, that is how long it took. 10 years is all it took for Venezuela to go from an oil-rich nation to a nation where citizens take turns to dig for garbage. 10 years represents 2 terms of a Rowley-led government. And this is why the time had to be now. There is no way I could sit back and not fight with every breath I have to prevent that from happening. Dr. Rowley has been the architect of his government's policies. Policies that mirror all too clearly those of the Maduro's regime. My dear citizens, I urge you, in fact, I beg you, do not look at these occurrences in isolation. His attack on the media cannot be shrugged off. It must not be shrugged off. Just as abusers have early red flags, so too do dictators. Maduro's attitude towards any citizen that opposed his government terrifyingly reflects that of our own Prime Minister. Painting every citizen that raises concerns as unpatriotic, he leaves no room for independent thinking. If you query, then you must be working for the opposition. This is exactly how Maduro began. Crushing the citizens' right to question our public servants, stifling transparency and accountability on the guise of patriotism. People of Diego Martin West, you hold the power. In 2010, Dr. Rowley won by less than 1,000 votes. In 2015, he won by only 44% of the registered voters. In fact, did you know in 1991, his first time running in that constituency, he won with 40% of the support. This is not a PNM seat, it is a non-voting seat. And this election, that has to change. The people of Trinidad and Tobago are depending on you, Diego Martin West, to get rid of a leader that resembles Maduro far too much. A leader who has weaponized the concerns of citizens. A leader whose policies resembles that of a failed nation. History cannot repeat itself. We must learn from the mistakes of our neighbor. People of Diego Martin West, now is your time. Now is the time. You, Diego Martin West, hold the power in your hands. The future of Trinidad and Tobago's democracy lies squarely on our shoulders. When the election bell is rung, make it your business to let your friends and family know that we will not stand idly by and watch our country fail. Our children will never eat from the garbage. Our children will never face what our own ancestors faced many years ago. We will never flee Trinidad and Tobago. We will never flee our homeland on boats. Many of you have already said it. If the opportunity presents itself, you'll migrate. Is that the attitude of a citizen who's been well represented? Now is the time, Diego Martin West. Now is the time, Trinidad and Tobago. Let us water the trees planted by our ancestors. Let us fight for the freedoms that they died for. Come Election Day 2020, I beg you, our country needs you to place an X by Marshall Walker, your next Member of Parliament for Diego Martin West. I thank you once again, and I wish you all a blessed night.
Father God, it's me again. It's me again. Yeah, yeah. Father God, I make them fight me so hard.
Live from the United National Congress virtual campaign. On the ballot now, Elijah Cole.
Good evening, political leader, the Honorable Kamla Persad Bosesa, my fellow citizens. First, I must express my deep gratitude to our political leader, the Honorable Mrs. Kamla Persad Bosesa, for the trust and confidence that she has vested in me yet again by permitting me the opportunity to serve the people as candidate for Diego Martin Northeast. I am humble, and it is my honor to stand as the voice of the people in my own community. I stand before you, ready to serve without fear or favor. For me, for all of us, the time is now. My brothers and my sisters, perilous times are indeed upon us. This is the time like no other. The very fabric of our nation and the life in sweet TNT as we know it is at stake, unless we make a change. When we consider the crime rate in this country, the state of our economy, the state of our healthcare, the rapidly increasing unemployment rate, my fellow citizens, we are most certainly on the brink of a slippery slope. But my message to you tonight is one of hope. There is still a glimmer of hope for our beloved country if we take this country back from those who have mismanaged it for the last 5 years, from the party who has led us down this path of desperation and despair. The faith of this nation and our children remains in our hands. We have another chance to see a new day dawning for TNT. We would have seen that the UNC has wholeheartedly embraced the necessary change. Our leader has carefully selected a new team of young, bright, energetic visionaries who come with a renewed hope, new ideas, new perspectives for righting the wrongs we as a people now live with. What do the new slate of UNC candidates have in common? Every single one of us have a passion for this nation, the land of our birth and all the people in it. We don't see color, race, creed, or ethnicity. We must never forget this. We are all Trimbingonians, one people under God. Now more than ever, must cast aside our differences and stand together as a people to demand change for our country. Together, we can turn the tide. As I meet the people of my constituency daily, I see the reality of what this PNM administration has done to the people of this country. 5 years have come and gone. Billions of taxpayer dollars spent, and what do we have to show for it? Nothing but broken promises, shattered dreams, families in crisis. The PNM have made a mockery of the trust this nation placed in them in 2015. The friends and family of government ministers are lining their pockets and eating of food, while more and more hard-working citizens are losing their livelihoods, not knowing where the next meal is coming from. Look at what we wake up to face every day. Look at the conditions under which we work and live. We are being robbed right in our homes. People are retrenched in droves. Our businesses are on the brink. We are in crisis. Yet the PNM is silent on this worsening state of affairs. All you hear from this administration is the peddling of their Nancy stories that their leadership saved us from COVID-19. We are far from being out of the woods, my friends. Who is saving the single mothers who now have no job? Not the PNM. Who is ensuring that our children of these families have food on the table? not the PNM. Their mismanagement of our resources and lopsided policies have all but done us in. COVID is proof of this. It shows us the stark reality of how many of us live paycheck to paycheck, with no security when hard times arrive. And they have now. We see the current Minister of Finance telling this country that our economy is stable. Does he think that we don't see the facts? If we are in a good place, why did our sovereign credit rating drop 2 months ago? Why is our rating now in the negative? Why is this country ranking on ease of doing business index fallen by 12 since 2015? Why is the Heritage and Stabilization Fund, our children's savings, being depleted by a quarter? 34%, poof, gone. And again, what do we have to show for it? Where's our stability? Where's the evidence of progress? The Economist recently released an index chart comprising 66 emerging countries only, with Trinidad and Tobago ranked 15 on 4 measures of financial strength solely. So if we have 15 out of 66, not even factoring for the OECD nations and other high-income countries, that would put us around 100 out of 190. As an oil-rich country, this position reeks of financial mismanagement. And lest we forget, let's remember what happened in the 1980s for a moment. Depletion of foreign reserves, double-figure unemployment, decline in oil production. Sounding familiar yet? Now add COVID to that. Add ridiculous gas negotiations to that. Add zero diversification to that. Add possible sanctions to doing business and travel. Add the abject failure of international diplomacy. Need I go on? My friends, I truly believe that the future of this nation lies on the outcome of the upcoming general election. This is not the time for complacency about our governance. Our lives and livelihoods are literally at stake. This time is now for the people of this country to stand up and exercise their God-given right to demand better for our families. We must say no to the callous mismanagement of our resources that has plagued our nation for the past 5 years. Together, let us break the chains and cast aside this yoke that is the PNM administration. Let us look towards a positive change for all citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Liberation is at hand. Let us take pride in our liberty. Let us vote for the caring and people-centered government that this country so desperately needs at such a time like this. Vote for progress. Vote for the UNC. May God bless our nation. Thank you and good night.
Father God, it's me again. It's me again. Father. Yeah. Father God, I make them fight me so hard.
Live from the United National Congress virtual campaign. On the ballot now, the candidate for Diego Martin Central, John Lackiste.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and the Honorable Ms. Kamla Prasad Bissessa, and thank you all for viewing with us tonight. I'm John Lackiste, representing Diego Martin Central. Diego Martin Central is in dire need of repairs, for want of a better word. These people have been living, and myself included, and watching the same things happen over day after day. It continues. Nothing is changing. There's no hope for the younger guys, the younger people, younger women in Diego Martin Central. We are hoping that we can bring some relief and encourage the youth to participate in some of the programs we'll be offering. We are looking to improve the road situation there, the traffic situation. For too long, you get up in the morning at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and it's jammed already. We are looking at some alternatives to this, where we could pool, where we'll have parking lots, and we will entertain the PTSC to assist us and to work with us in providing some relief for this perennial problem. As far as the flooding is concerned in that area, We have seen it. In my house, I flood any little shower, the water comes right up into the garage. One year it came inside the house. Took us days to get rid of the mud. I have been looking around for quite a while, and I have seen where we can take advantage of the new technologies and the expertise that we have in the UNC to at least alleviate some of these problems. In the short term, but eventually we will control that flooding problem. Some of the programs we want to introduce for our younger people and elders, not a problem, never too late to learn, is because you have noticed recently a lot of the hybrid vehicles on the roads. Well, we are going to be training a whole bunch of people to get involved and learn this trade, learn these technologies. Many of them will go on to open their own shops and provide services to these type of vehicles. Within 10 years, that's what it's going to be like. And if we start trading from now, we are way ahead of the game. A lot of people outside here have ideas and dreams, but they're not given the opportunity to go forward to make it reality. We in the UNC will provide relief and assistance in any way we can to make sure that you and your dream will go forward for the future for you and your family. For far too long, we have been left sidelined, we have been sidelined, and we have been operating from a top-down situation where we intend to work with the people of the constituency, consultations, and more consultations before any decisions are made. We in the UNC intend to work and encourage participation from all citizens. But I am concerned about the citizens in my constituency. I am going to turn, with your help, Diego Martin Central into a polished diamond of a constituency that everyone will envy. For a long time now, we have had the same people in Parliament. What have they done to us? What have they done for the country? Absolutely nothing. Everything has been going downhill. Everything they touch is destroyed. They take simple things and make them complex. No, we have to stop it. Ladies and gentlemen, we must stop this now. You have the power to change the direction we are going in this country. For your children, your grandchildren, wake up. I am sure you all are capable of turning the tide in this country with your help. Thank you very much. God bless our nation. Good night.
Father God, it's me again. It's me again. Yeah. Father God, I made them fight me so hard.
Live from the United National Congress virtual campaign. On the ballot now, the Member of Parliament for Punta Cana, Dr. David
Citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, tonight Team UNC joins with you as we continue our journey to rebuild our nation and restore the hope of our citizens. We join with you at a time when the Rowley regime is boasting about all it has done to deal with the COVID-19 crisis, when the fact is many of our country have been subjected to increasing hardship, reduced standards of living, rising unemployment, growing poverty, and absence of opportunities for the betterment before COVID-19 came into our shores. Today, while they boast about the salary grants that they have distributed, the hampers that they have provided, and loans that will issue, we must remember, in the last 5 years, over 60,000 have lost their jobs under this administration. Hundreds of businesses have closed down due to the stagnating economy. Citizens have suffered from high food prices. Fuel prices have increased 3 times. Forex availability have reduced while taxes have increased. Crisis, chaos, and instability affected the people of Trinidad and Tobago before COVID-19. Thanks to the poor governance that has plagued this nation when the PNM took office on September 7, 2015. But tonight, Team UNC joins with every single citizen of this nation who dreams of a better country and national state of affairs to say enough is enough. Tonight, led by the Honorable Kamala Persad-Bissessar, Team UNC joins hands with each and every citizen of this country to stand against the oppression, underdevelopment, and mismanagement which we have been faced with in the last 5 years. From listening to our 3 dynamic soldiers, we'll be fighting to restore representation to the people of Diego Martin. We see clearly that the UNC is the only party with a plan to restore this nation. Tonight, we send a warning to the PNM in those seats. These candidates are coming fully equipped with the plans and determination to change the lives of the thousands which this government has taken for granted for the last 5 years. In a few weeks, the people of this nation will have the most important decision they have ever had to make in the history of our nation. As a country, we will have to choose between Rowley's chaos or Kamala's track record of progress. This Rowley regime must hang its head in shame for the destruction and damage it has done to our once resilient energy sector. This Rowley regime has broken and brutalized decades of hard work through their misguided lack of political will to secure our national energy sector. Tonight I want to ask the Minister of Finance, how does he expect to increase this nation's economic growth as he promised, and when the Point Lisas estate, which has been the backbone of this nation's energy sector, is in total crisis? How does he plan to increase revenue, increase our gross domestic product, increase jobs and even foreign investments, when for the first time in our nation's history, the major plants on the Point Lisas estate are either shut down or idle? It is a total disaster. An energy sector which once attracted billions in investment is now struggling to even facilitate those who have operated there for years. Since this administration took office, we have seen a consistent closure of the once heavily productive plants. In 2016, we saw Mittal close. In 2017, Methanol Holdings closed one of its plants. And in 2019, Yara closed. And in the last 4 months of this year, we have seen Nutrient, Titan, and Methanol, all their plants have been on idle. For 5 straight years, we have seen workers lose their jobs in the energy sector. For 5 years straight, we have seen this once gold mine industry lose revenue rapidly. For 5 years straight, we have seen energy investors leave our shore and leave our sector to go elsewhere. As a country, we must not for 1 minute allow this government to blame COVID-19 for the crash in our national energy sector. This sector has been falling apart since September 7, 2015, due to Keith Rowley's inept and lazy approach. Today, citizens must ask the Prime Minister, why after all those foreign trips to the offices of oil companies is the once robust downstream sector falling apart? Why have the profits of the National Gas Company fallen by 85% under this Rowley regime? Why have manufacturers been complaining about possible increase in natural gas prices since January of this year? All of this has emerged due to the reckless approach of not incentivizing, modernizing, and innovating our energy sector to be attractive as well as competitive. After 5 years, not only has this administration crashed the downstream industry at Point Lisas, but they have crippled this country's ability to increase gas and oil production in the past 5 years. 5 years ago, they promised you to create fiscal regimes to maximize recovery of the hydrocarbon resources. This was all a lie, as today none of that has occurred, while plant closures continue to increase. 5 years ago, they promised to deliver an environment where companies can be more aggressive in discovering oil and gas. That was all a lie, as this government has only held one single bid round, which was not successful. By failing to secure our energy sector, they have failed to secure the livelihoods of thousands of individuals, as many jobs have been lost. Many fringe communities have been destroyed. Our country has been deprived of revenue, and foreign exchange has dried up. Ask yourself, my brothers and sisters, how can our economy be in a positive place if the energy sector has collapsed? And I would like to turn to Petrotrin. It is disheartening that 18 months later, the people of this country are still waiting to see a single positive from this administration's selfish, heartless, and wicked decision to close down Petrotrin. With a stroke of a pen, this government not only destroyed our national patrimony, but they have placed tens of thousands of lives into turmoil. Thousands of our young professionals were thrown on the breadlines. Thousands of Petrotrin retirees have had their health plans ruined. Thousands of fence-line businesses throughout Marabella, Claxton Bay, and Couva were destroyed. As a country, must ask why. What good has the people of this country received for this decision, which the Rowley regime cannot account up to this day? 18 months later, why hasn't the refinery restarted? With every passing day, the equipment becomes less valuable and runs the risk of becoming scrap metal. The asset integrity is suspect. Thanks to disclosure, Paria is forced to spend millions in already scarce US dollars to purchase fuel for the local market. Today, we are feeling the loss of our refinery, as a decrease in the price of oil on the international market has caused Heritage to store millions of barrels of crude oil. Had the refinery been open today, we would have been able to utilize this for our local markets and save millions of US dollars, which is already a scarce commodity. But as a country, we must ask, what really has changed at these companies? Up to last week, media reports showed that the CEOs of these companies, both Paria and Heritage, earn in excess of $100,000 per month. It seems the only reason this government wanted Petrotrin closed was to get rid of the workers. We must continue to demand accountability for the assets of Petrotrin, as this government's failure to operationalize the procurement legislation means millions worth of assets could be easily and cheaply sold out without any form of transparency. You will just remember of the valuable real estate that Petrotrin owns. As a people, we must never forgive them for the hurt they have caused. We must never forget the blatant lies of the Prime Minister when he promised the people of Marabella that he would not close down Petrotrin. On the news, I have seen David Abdullah, they say he's my namesake as I carry the name David, has opted to contest the Pointe-a-Pierre seat for the MSJ. I want to ask Mr. Abdullah, where was he when thousands of workers from Petrotrin were fired? Where was David Abdullah when thousands of local businesses were shut down? The people of Pointe-a-Pierre will never forget the PNM or Mr. Abdullah when the next election is called. As this government continues to boast that it is distributing relief to those citizens affected by the pandemic, we must question if they are genuinely helping those in need or using this as political patronage to win votes in this upcoming election. At a time when this government has been forced to tap into our sovereign savings and borrow billions, it is a slap in the face to so many burdened citizens that reports have emerged where this government has been utilizing state resources for alleged political gain. Last week, the opposition, through Dr. Munilal, revealed to the Parliament various lists which demonstrated where only half the quotas of hampers given to PNN MPs' offices were being given to UNC MPs, while the other half was being distributed to PNM operatives within these UNC constituencies. These lists clearly showed where MPs such as the Attorney General received 100 hampers, while UNC MPs like myself in Pointe-a-Pierre, Princess Tong and Siparia only received 50, as the other remaining portion, or the other 50, was given to PNM officials in these constituencies, which are all held by UNC MPs. What was quite damning was a silence not only by the ministers who spoke after Dr. Munilal in the Parliament, but by the Ministry of Social Development or any other ministry to respond publicly. These claims must be taken seriously, as even the Guardian editorial on June 16th have called for answers into these corrupt acts. It is truly shameful that during a pandemic that this government has opted to manipulate state resources to earn an edge over the opposition in an upcoming general election. These revelations, however, raise further questions such as, is this government also manipulating who receives the salary grant and other monetary grants for political gains? This is what I ask. Is the government manipulating the number of food cards given to the PNN MPs versus UNC MPs? I ask that question. Would the small business loans be used to buy votes? And I really hope not, because the small business community, the small and medium-sized businesses really need loans to help them sustain their businesses and to survive in this country. After 5 years of this Rowley-led PNM, one thing remains clear: the people of Trinidad and Tobago cannot trust them. We trusted them to create jobs. Instead, over 60,000 lost their jobs. We trusted them to create a better standard of living. Today, thousands are suffering as never before. We trusted them to improve our education sector. Instead, our children have been left behind. This government has consistently acted against the best interests of our citizens. It is a sad day for our democracy when this betrayal, lies, malice, and incompetence of the Rowley regime has reached the international stage as it has done with the Venezuelan crisis. This government continues to run with a fake narrative that the opposition demanded sanctions on our country. What we did was expose the immoral actions and lies of this administration. On June 12, 2020, international news agency Reuters carried a story where shipping magnate Wilhelm Rupert was being investigated by U.S. officials for breaching U.S. sanctions by importing fuel from Trinidad into Venezuela. It wasn't Kamla who sold the fuel to Rupert, it was Paria. It wasn't Kamla who initially left out the sanction clause, it was Paria Company. It wasn't Kamla who failed to do the proper due diligence on the sale, it was the Paria management. Today, Paria Fuel has many questions to answer, such as to why did the general manager and chairman get involved in such a transaction? Why did the request for this sale come one day after the sanctioned Venezuelan Vice President Delcy visited Trinidad and Tobago? Our country must see that the only people who violated the well-being of our citizens is this government, who not only allowed this suspicious transaction, but allowed sanctioned individuals to enter our country while our own borders were closed. Does the Prime Minister not care about the relationship with our allies? Does the Prime Minister not care about the repercussions on our citizens? As a country, we must stand up to this careless and irresponsible leadership. I would like to tell you of our track record by the United National Congress. The people of this nation, our economy, our social framework, and our scarce, sacred institution have all been battered by the Rowley regime. The neglect of the Rowley regime has extended throughout every sector and every community of our country. The people of this nation deserve a leader who will work to better their lives based on the diverse skills, cultures, and backgrounds to ensure we all achieve our true potential. Kamla Persad-Bissessar is that leader. Tonight, I remind you and ask you to find hope in the track record of the United National Congress, led by the great and dynamic Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar. Kamla created over 50,000 jobs. Her government secured those already employed by settling over 130 wage agreements. Her government turned the country around from recession to accomplish 1.7% growth. She created the Children's Life Fund to care for the vulnerable in our society. Our government built 100 schools to ensure our children had a bright future. Kamla Persad-Bissessar built 8 police stations to ensure a safer society. She provided 500 new vehicles to the police force to allow our protective services to fight crime. Improved community development by building over 30 bridges. Reduced inflation from 16% to 6% to ensure prosperity. Increased 24/7 water supply from 18% to 73% to better our standard of living. And what is our water supply today? It is in a horrendous state. Increase the minimum wage from $9 to $15. Kamla Persad-Bissessar built the Couva Children's Hospital and opened it. And she also completed and opened the Tobago Hospital for the people of Tobago. Under Kamla Persad-Bissessar, each and every sector of our country was improved. Each and every citizen, regardless of their political persuasion, ethnic background, religious belief, or economic standing, benefited from the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar government and her team. Tomorrow, which is Friday, our country will celebrate Labor Day, a day which honors the struggles of our workers, achievements of our labor movement, and all those who have fought for equality for our working class. Unfortunately, this Labor Day, workers throughout our country have little to celebrate, given the betrayal and poor treatment they have faced under this government, who has disregarded many of our key workers throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Today, we have a Minister of Labor who has done nothing to enhance the lives of workers. She promised the pandemic leave 3 months ago. Up to this day, it is yet to be implemented. Not a single wage negotiations has been settled by this government in the last 5 years. The National Tripartite Committee has collapsed. They boasted that the refinery will be sold to OWTU, yet this has not been delivered. Promised amendments to the Retrenchment and Severance Benefits Act, yet this was never done. Tonight, as I wish all workers and labor activists in our country a happy Labor Day 2020, on behalf of our Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar, as well as Team UNC, I would like to thank them for their determined efforts to build this country as the next UNC government commits to enhance their lives, wages, and working conditions. As I conclude, the time is now. Friends, throughout Trinidad and Tobago, tonight I tell each citizen of this country that the fate of our nation is in their hands and on their fingertips. In the last 5 years, we have seen that the Rowley PNM has not improved any single aspect of your life. In the last 5 years, you have seen that the United National Congress, led by Kamla Persad-Bissessar, is the only movement to restore the prosperity of our citizens, rebuild our national institutions, and renew our future hopes. The vision of Kamla Persad-Bissessar has attracted patriots from all walks of life, reflecting the diverse multicultural beauty of our nation as candidates. That is why I call on the people of Vista Bella and Gulfview and all of San Fernando West to come out and support our dynamic Sean Sobers, a young lawyer who you are guaranteed, and I tell you, does not spread untruths like the Attorney General. One thing you are sure of, Sean Sobers does not lie. People of Tunapuna, come out and support a man who has flown our flag on the international field. Support the only other candidate for Tunapuna, David Nakid, to use his innovation and dedicated approach to bring people-centered development to that great constituency of Tunapuna. In Moruga, you have young Michelle Benjamin, who has served valiantly at the local government level. Support her to bring an enhanced way of life for all of Moruga. St. Joseph, you have suffered too long without proper representation. Give your support behind the dynamic Aloy Hunt, a man who has dedicated his life to protecting our nation and now dedicating it to bettering the lives of the people of St. Joseph. Tonight, I ask all of Trinidad and Tobago, give our country a chance of returning to success, stability, and sustainable development. I ask tonight of all of Trinidad and Tobago to stand with the UNC, led by the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar, for a better future. The time is now. Let us do it.
Hello everyone. For the past few weeks, we have all been anxiously watching the seemingly unstoppable spread of the COVID-19 virus throughout the world. We felt a heaviness in our hearts when news broke that the virus had reached our country, and I'm sure your heart grew even heavier when, in spite of the extraordinary efforts of healthcare workers, the virus stole the lives of some of our citizens. We remember them in our hearts and in our prayers. Added to our human loss, we now see many struggling to get food for their families. This is a tragedy as well. Thousands of our citizens have been out of work for more than a month. They wonder what will become of their jobs when the lockdown ends. Businesses are struggling to pay their employees and to cover costs, and they wonder if they will have customers when they reopen, if they are able to reopen at all. The situation is indeed grim. As a grandmother, I've struggled to make sense of all of this to those in my family. I had to explain to the children in my extended family, who were eager to come visit me for my birthday, that we just could not celebrate as a complete family this year. This is a sacrifice we all have to make today, so we can celebrate another birthday, another Eid, another Diwali, or another Christmas. My family, like yours, has been unable to go about our normal lives, staying at home to help stop the spread of the virus. Many of us must have felt at some point in the last few weeks a little afraid, nervous, and unsure. But having to accept this is temporary, and we must make all sacrifices in the name of defeating this virus which threatens our way of life. Although COVID-19 has brought fear and uncertainty, it has also brought out the best in many of us. Many citizens are helping our neighbors who are less fortunate by distributing much-needed hampers and supplies. We have seen taxi drivers providing free transport for senior citizens, cafes catering free lunch meals for children, and bakeries offering free bread. And of course, we have witnessed the selfless acts of service displayed by our nation's medical and security professionals, from doctors to policemen, nurses to members of the Defense Force, to paramedics and administrative hospital staff. They are indeed our national heroes. I express my heartfelt gratitude to all these national heroes who leave their homes and families to do their jobs dutifully in this dangerous time to serve us all. To those citizens still in hospital and quarantine, I wish you strength in your recovery. All of these examples of our true Trinbagonian spirit of unity and togetherness should remind us that throughout the battle with this virus, we each have the best weapon, a resilient spirit. Our resilience as a people has seen us through many dark days in our history. We have faced our troubles and returned to work and life, each time rebuilding even stronger and better. We are not the first generation of Trinbagonians to endure great hardship and sacrifice, nor will we be the last. But like those before us, we will endure and overcome this difficult time. Citizens of our great land, I promise you we will get through this together. I promise you we will heal our nation. While it is understandable that saving the lives of our citizens is a top priority now, we must also seriously plan for saving the livelihoods of all the people of our land. Even before the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, Trinidad and Tobago was in a very vulnerable economic state. Now it has all been made worse. The UNC has been looking ahead. We have been watching the dark clouds gathering for some time now, and we have been quietly doing our work, preparing for when those dark clouds burst open, preparing to make sure we can offer you economic solutions that can protect you and help you keep going. This applies more than ever in a post-COVID-19 world. We must be prepared and be prepared to act fast. The UNC's Economic Manifesto is our blueprint for how we will protect and create jobs, bring benefits to every citizen, and generate a sense of hope that things will get better in our great nation. Our focus is economic resilience, built in our people's spirit to fight and do what needs to be done. We know we can count on all citizens to step up. We have meticulously crafted our economic manifesto to navigate this unprecedented and rapidly evolving COVID-19 pandemic crisis, which is like no other. The work the UNC has done for economic recovery is in the national interest. It is for every single citizen, and therefore I believe it would be selfish of us to hold on to it, given how valuable it is to rebuilding our country right now. The lives of our citizens matter more than politics. I appeal to the Prime Minister and his team to put people before party and politics and accept our plan. The UNC's COVID-19 blueprint for turning our economy around will restore growth and restart the diversification process away from the dominant energy sector. Our economic plan is complete, but we know a lot depends on the way in which this virus evolves. It also depends on the effectiveness of containment measures and the development of an effective drug or working vaccine, all of which are very hard to predict. And we know, even if we manage to control the spread of the virus, we cannot be complacent. We must continue to protect against future outbreaks through rigorous testing, tracing, and isolating. We recognize that we must rebuild a new economic system against a troubled background of geopolitical power shifts, trade wars, climate change, artificial intelligence, and tech dominance, and possibly social upheavals. We will therefore update and refine our economic manifesto when circumstances materially change, incorporating additional policy measures as necessary to facilitate strong, sustainable, balanced, and inclusive growth. We know that within the next month, the government's economic recovery team is expected to present a draft plan with recommendations on how to restart the economy. That is why, in the true spirit of national unity and bipartisanship, the UNC is willing to share our economic manifesto with the government and others so that we can get a head start on turning our economy around. Here are just 5 of the UNC's proposed economic booster shots for recovery and growth. The first recommendation we have is to reduce the tax burden. Our economic manifesto is pro-business, but it has a human face. We have placed special focus on restarting and supporting small and medium-sized businesses affected by the pandemic. There are many families who will come out of this pandemic having their savings and financial security stolen. They will need months of help to get back on their feet. We believe reducing the heavy tax burden on our citizens and businesses most affected by the pandemic will help our citizens start to regain their footing. So, we will reduce personal and corporate income taxes, simplify the VAT regime, remove basic food items from the VAT net, and improve the efficiency of the tax system by strengthening the Board of Inland Revenue, the VAT Office, and the Customs and Excise. Our second booster is to jumpstart food security. Food security is an absolute essential in a post-COVID-19 world. A protracted pandemic will disrupt the global food supply chains, making it very difficult to move food from the world's bread baskets to the places where the food is to be consumed. The UNC has placed agriculture and food security at the center of our economic manifesto. We believe there must be a jumpstart to our agriculture sector by leasing 25,000 acres of former carry lands to create agricultural parks. At the same time, we propose spending at least 10% of the PSIP to develop agricultural access roads, irrigation, and drainage for these agricultural parks. We will also incentivize the private sector to establish an agro-processing plant. There will be no more wastage or dumping of produce, which is a bane for many of our farmers. Now, more than ever, fuel security is critically important to a thriving economy. No one will soon forget the horror of oil prices on the futures market crashing to less than zero the first time in its history, as the pandemic leaves the world awash with oil and not enough storage capacity. We believe government must re-examine its plan for Petrotrin, and we are proposing to restart a reformed Pointe-à-Pierre oil refinery. By reopening Petrotrin, we will have greater fuel security, save foreign exchange, provide meaningful jobs, and ensure the company continues to contribute to the Treasury. Our fourth economic booster is for government to invest in renewable energy. Why invest in renewable energy now? Because the COVID-19 pandemic and the sudden economic lockdown have revealed just how interconnected we are on this earth. The reduction in emissions from less air and land traffic has led to the Himalayan mountain range becoming visible in northern India for the first time in almost 30 years. It has led to seekers there feeling comfortable enough to wander through city streets in Japan. And we've seen the waterways of the usually crowded Venice, Italy, are clearer and visible from space. Now is the time. This is an opportunity to springboard into climate change policy and action for all countries, and for us to seize the opportunity to update the country's environmental policies and legislation in keeping with the ambitious climate change goals we agreed to in the landmark 2015 Paris Agreement. The UNC's initiatives in renewable energy and recycling, such as the establishment of a solar energy park at Tamana and industrial recycling parks across the East-West Corridor, will reduce our carbon footprint whilst adding to our environmental resiliency. Our fifth economic booster is the creation of 3 innovative funds to mobilize financial resources. Financial resources will remain tight for the foreseeable future. Public debt is rising to dangerous levels. The UNC intends to create these 3 innovative funds so that we can mobilize financial resources to finance the programs in our economic manifesto. We believe government should now adopt this approach and start a National Food Security Fund, a National Infrastructure Fund, and a National Climate Trust Fund. These funds, take note, will not raise our public debt. The National Food Security Fund will invest in land, farms, forestry, and agricultural businesses abroad to give us greater food security. This fund will be a wholly owned subsidiary of the HSF, the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. This fund will be capitalized by allowing the HSF to invest up to 10% of its total assets in alternative investments. This will mobilize about US $500 million in capital for the National Food Security Fund. The National Infrastructure Fund will support strategic investments in public transport, solar, water, wastewater facilities, climate resilient infrastructure, and green housing. The National Infrastructure Fund will be capitalized using the idle cash balances of state-controlled institutional investors like the National Insurance Board and the Unit Trust Corporation. This will mobilize an initial $4 billion in capital for the National Infrastructure Fund. Life insurance companies and private pension funds, they can be encouraged to become either shareholders or investors in the National Infrastructure Fund, thereby substantially boosting its pool of capital. The third fund, the Green Fund, should be repurposed into a National Climate Trust Fund, which will finance new green technology startups and provide the financial backing we need to create a low-carbon economy. The government should use the $5 billion in cash balances of the Green Fund to capitalize the Climate Trust Fund. This will attract international grant funding and private sector capital, substantially boosting the pool of funds available for climate-smart investments. So, we devised our economic strategy around 12 prosperity engines spread throughout communities in Trinidad and Tobago, which will ensure we stabilize, grow, and diversify our economy. These prosperity engines will focus on agriculture, energy, creative industries, tourism, infrastructure, renewable energy, recycling, biotechnology, and that most important of all, the digital economy. We believe government should mirror this approach. Our plan can save precious time in the rebuilding process and help people become employed quicker, earn paychecks faster, be productive sooner, and indeed thrive longer. It can help families and our country heal sooner rather than later. The measures in our plan, if implemented, will place our economy onto a path of growth and strength. I encourage everyone to visit our website and our Facebook, our UNC website and Facebook, to find out more about the UNC's Economic Manifesto for post-pandemic world, and I invite you to provide your feedback to us on our policies and programs. We have done thorough research and planning and believe with our COVID-19 economic plan, we can create 50,000 new jobs within the next 5 years and double our non-energy exports to $5 billion by 2025. Above all, let us be hopeful. We will return to work. We will go to Maracas or Queen Anne or Pigeon Point for a swim. We will return to Coral River for a cook. We will go back to the movies, to the malls, and we will meet our friends by Davie Junction for doubles soon. Stay safe, TNT. Stay blessed. We will meet again soon. God bless you all.
Father God, it's me again. Father God, it's me, your son again. Father, I know them a blow breath in a man. On today, genocide. Go inside. Father God, I make them fight me so hard. I lucky things to me no coward. A lucky thing me put me trust in the Lord. Them want me for dead in the mag like dog. No make the hope you walk at them get no reward. No make them get no reward. No make the hope you walk at them get no reward.
lock up your valleys, BNM have to go. Just now is election, we bringing back UNC.
It's back the deal with the PNM. And to you on the radio, and to you watching on TV, do not adjust your dial. It is Anil you're seeing right here, live and direct. Never went anywhere. Because the Douglas could talk either way. Because the Douglas could talk either way. Anil Robert! Mic off, guys. All right, check. Welcome back to the Douglas Politics. This is a weird kind of version. We reached late because of the PNM traffic. COVID ease up and traffic one time. 2 hours and 26 minutes from Dago to Marabella. Come on, man. No accident, no collapse of interchange, nothing. And just traffic. The productivity that is lost there is remarkable. So we then paused for the on the ballot by the United National Congress. Ladies and gentlemen, candidates are very important. Did you see those candidates? Did you listen to the candidates? Marsha Walker from Dago Martin. My boy Johnny Lackey is from Dago Martin Northeast. Eliza Cool from Dago Martin Central. All you have a grabby wabby man. Why do we just vote without thinking? A vote is a very important thing. Think about what you are saying. All of you pay taxes. Even if you don't pay income tax, if you come under 72,000 or whatever per year and so on, and you don't pay. Every time you buy a bread, you pay tax. Every time you buy food, your groceries, your VAT, you pay tax. Every time you pump gas, you pay tax. It's about how people spend that for you all. It's not a joke. You have calm him, but my people in Trinidad and Dago Martin Northeast are saying that once you put PNM and you put, even if you put a Coleman but a Dwayne in a PNM, he will get 11,000 votes. Are we really serious, people? And he boasts them in the parliament and say, oh, next time he go campaign. Look at the candidates. David Lee coming up to finish up deputy political leader. And then Kamla Prasad Bissessa, prime ministerial discourse, discussing issues, identifying problems in a realistic manner. I know we late tonight. Please share the live, right? We ain't going long. Let me just give all you a few topics. I come down south, all you're looking for your Douglas politics. I had to give all you something, right? We can't just say we off because of a little traffic. We still have to do we work. So share the live, please. How are we going to create jobs? The digital economy, futuristic thinking, planning, innovative ideas. I ask you all, please, go on Facebook, go on Douglas Politics. I see my boy Vishnu Kun and them set up a fan page. I ain't know, all you ease me up. I new to this Facebook thing, okay? I the old school. Turn on the mic on, check. Bus talk. You understand? So I apologize. But they're setting up fan page so you all could put information. Put and ask questions, get information. Understand this. You have a man who run the country, collapse the entire economy. Collapse. Understand. He could do nothing about the global prices for energy products. We are price takers. We are not price makers there. We were price makers and producers with Petrotrin and refinery. We could be price makers in agriculture. We could have been price makers down in Chagaramas with the boat building industry that collapsed and crashed. Grenada, St. Lucia, Antigua have marinas and have people building and fixing boats and engines and earning big money. Our industry collapsed under Rowley. Agriculture collapsed. Sport tourism, non-existent. Domestic tourism between Trinidad and Tobago, non-existent. Before COVID, Keith Christopher Rowley had no plan. Kamala was saying that all the time from since 2014, 2015. You all said I only Kamala. Kamala only want to be prime minister again, and she just saying that. The man has and had and still has no plan other than he and his friends must procure and spend your money. That's his plan. The only thing he has done is ensure that all your money, he and a few people spend it. You doubt me? He take his Gary Sobers and put him in the office of the Prime Minister. His Gary Sobers, small pin, travels with him to meet with CEOs everywhere he goes. Every contract, everything. Small pin was the Minister of Communications and a minister in the Attorney General and a minister in the office of Prime Minister. But he was negotiating Sandals' so-called deal. Not the Minister of Tourism. And this is why I say PNM, all the fellas have no cojones and things. You think I could be a minister of tourism and small pin walking all over my portfolio and doing things and negotiate and just rock back, so? I go to the Prime Minister and say, boss, if you want me here and you want small pin be minister of everything, well, fireburn, you resign, I gone. Simple. Like them PNM, hungry for work, hungry for position. You there to do a job, a man walking all over, you doing your job, and you don't even know when the media asking whatever the man name from San Fernando East. What your name? Randall Mitchell. Such a non-existent minister, I don't even know your name. When the Douglas forget you know you really ain't good. The only thing I remember you doing is chupsing at a constituent. Imagine that. You know rich and you get arrogant. Why didn't chups at small pin when he gone to do your work in Tobago? And Kelvin Charles, why you didn't chups at him? They pelt you away now. Not even the PNM respects the PNM. Rowley had no plan. On top of that, Rowley knows not what is going on. Keith Christopher Rowley said that our economy will rebound by August 1st. What is today this date? June what? 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th? Wait till June 18th? August 1st is in about 42 days. So you think that an economy that had already shrunk in 4 years and 10 months of Keith Christopher Rowley by 11.74%, with COVID and a total lockdown and no economic activity whatsoever, would real projected negative growth of 10 to 14%. That could rebound in 40 days. The man needs a checkup. You just listen to Kamla Persad-Bissessar cogently, responsibly, without panic, telling you there are issues and there are problems. Due to the mismanagement of Keith Christopher Rowley and Colm Imbot, there are problems. Due to COVID pandemic, additional problems. But do not panic, people, because she has it under control. And this is what she is going to do. And you could go on the UNC website and read it. That is politics. That is governance. That is management. What Rowley and them going to tell you? Bang, badang, bang, bang. Bang, badang. All the passiram. Anil thief. Kamla thief. Munilal thief. Indian thief. Great. Fantastic. Thanks. Are we serious in this country? Other countries are moving towards innovation. South Korea had no real natural resources, no real oil and gas and bitumen and pitch lake and diamonds and so on. South Korea move on this. Intellectual capital. Japan also. Discipline, strategy, planning, brain, research and development. Boom, billions. That's what Kamla Persad-Bissessar wants to do with our bright people. How many articles have you all read of Trinbagonian young people outside getting all kind of awards for brilliance in surgery, in research and development, in science and technology, in innovation, in artificial intelligence? Our people outside making money for other people's country. Kamla said, no, we're going to invest the money here in our young people, not in Faris Al Rental, not in Franklin Can rental, not in the Alsing wife contract, not in Dillon Manhattan apartment, not in Angus Smallpin Young $3.625 billion just so. And this is, you see the problem with Trinidad and Tobago? I ain't never hear Republic Bank, Answer Merchant Bank, RBC, Scotia Bank, these big banks. I never hear one person complain. Why is that? I'm asking you all. Because I know, I believe in justice, in he who performs or she who performs best win. He who does good, win. He who deserves the job, get the job. That's what I believe in. As a coach, in life, in anything. Any of my children tell them, any sport I tell them, don't tell me, come, nothing, you know. Other than you work hard and you win. If you don't work hard and you lost, I can't help you. End of story. Simple. So can you all tell me, in 4 years and 10 months, Angus Young, the brother of Stuart Young, his little company that he's CEO of, that began and opened its doors in 2014, in September 2014, he became the CEO, and Larry Hawaii cut the ribbon. They did not win any government work, and they had, at the end of September 2015, they had 86 million in assets and work and private sector and so on. And just so between then and now, they are now up to $3.625 billion in government work, earning interest, X amount of interest, averaging between 5 and 6% over 20 years. Plus, government agencies have taken money out of established big financial institutions where it's safe, low risk, and moved it into NCB Global Finance. And not one banker, not one bank CEO, not one board member, not one person say, hey, stop now, we deserve that contract, we must have bid. There's no way that man could bid lower than us. Not one. Why is that? Is it that we are a country of cowards and we allow that to go because we want to get something else? And if we complain about this, we know that the vindictive, bald-head bully, the raging bull will shut us down. Is it that? And y'all are thinking about voting a man back into power that has even the richest bankers afraid? Republic Bank is one of the best banks in the Western Hemisphere. It may even be the best, because the way they have managed their portfolio, the diversification, the deposits, the work that they have done, the acquisitions they have done in a safe, secure manner, has buffered the bank from all sorts of external global financial shocks. People want Republic Bank stock like platinum. You are telling me a little rat's tail company by Frankie's where I just drink rum could outbid Republic Bank? Could outbid Answer Merchant Bank? Are you all serious? But I ask you all out there, did you all hear any of the CEOs, managing directors, board members, chairmen of these banks complain? No. Because the big bad raging bull could do what the hell he want. And Gabriel Faria, it's good for you. You send the chickens out, they come home to roost. You aided and abetted Rowley into getting into power. You forget when I call you, I go talk now. You see me? I just keep quiet too much. Let me tell all you something, Douglas Paul. Share the light because I want all you to hear this. Because I didn't really tell it before. Let me tell you, Gabriel Faria, while I will defend your position as a citizen, not to be abused by someone holding such powerful office, to mash you up like that when you did not deserve it, especially. Because all you were talking about was economic issues, solutions, what needs to be done, what has not been done. That's all Gabriel Faria said. And Rowley went off on an emotional tirade, attacking the man personally, telling him he's unpatriotic, he's lazy, he's selfish. What sort of prime minister y'all thinking about voting about that clown? That is the only reason I am upset that I'm not in the parliament now. Because I wish I was in the parliament to watch he and debate he every day because he's such a dunce. And he can't bully me. Bully me? Rowley, me afraid one part of you. I look at you with disdain as a Oreo, as a weak, ridiculous idiot. It's Father's Day. You call your son that you made in 1969 and 44 years, no quality time. Don't send nobody no Father's Day message here, no. Rowley. Afraid you like to bully women and children. You bullying Gabriel Faria because you're the Prime Minister of the country. You only reach there because you just lie. You lie in email gate. You lie on Manning. You lie to become leader of the PNM. Email gate is the biggest set of lie in the history of government in the Commonwealth. A whole hour and 15 minutes, a whole 6 months of premeditated lie, and you have the audacity to talk to people like you something, boy? I have more respect for something a dog just poop out there where I park the van than you, Rowley. And you bullying people. Share the life, because let me tell you, Gabriel Faria, while I defend you now, because that attack was unwarranted, and it's just, everybody knows when a man does not have the intellect, the ideas, or the ability to answer, he has to shout and bully. He has to bully you and say nothing. Call you all kind of names, tell you you're unpatriotic and you're selfish and you do this and you don't do that. But yeah, answer one thing Gabriel Faria say. Gabriel Faria, I listened to the whole interview, very calm, very intelligent. So he knows exactly what he's talking about, the business numbers, he knows the macroeconomics, he knows the micro, he knows the labor market, he knows what is needed, he knows the financial sector, and that's what he was talking about. The weaknesses that existed pre-COVID, the weaknesses that exist during COVID, and the weaknesses that got magnified post-COVID. That is all Gabriel Faria say. Rowley can't answer none. So Rowley tell him how he's a selfish, how he talking about talking politicians and how people like him will never volunteer the time. Rowley, you volunteer the time? Let me decide that after you lost now. After you lost. Because all this procurement that you and Small Pin do without board, without tender committee, without public servants, without permanent secretary, without cabinet note, without FNGP, all you feel it is. All you feel it is, all you want to call other people thief. So all you wait, Rowley. You have ministers procuring and spending people money to buy a galleon's passage that is the worst boat ever purchased. No, sorry, second. Sue was the worst. And both of them purchased by the same imps. And all you're going to pull back him. My people in Diego Martin notice, oh God, the story again boring. Only you get fed up and tired. Every time you dip, you get a imps. You get a Dwayne. You get a race people on your, and you're going back to do it. Please explain to the Douglas how you could do that. Well, let me tell you about Gabriel Faria. Why I say it good for you, your chickens come home to roost. Because at one point he was in the Answer Makal group, something to do with Guardian Media and some way there. And the Guardian, just like the Express had their Asha Javid, who has an affinity for PNM ministers, especially Small Pin, from since then, and was writing against Kamala's government and Kamala's ministers, front page. And the Express thought that was okay. And if the Express did not know that she had an affinity for PNM men, then the Express, you should not be an investigative newspaper if you don't even know that your own journalists are biased. You see? But the Guardian was not so far off. The Guardian had something called Anika Gum Sandiford. Anika Gum Sandiford is the Asha Javid of the Guardian, who ended up by the Express too. Anika Gum Sandiford printed about 3 fake stories on me, and then the 4th one she printed. She put that I There was some issue with the boxing board, and anybody who knows the boxing board of control, that is a committee set up by parliament, by statute. So all that the minister had to do, the boxing board, is take recommendations, bring in resumes, go to cabinet and say, well, we recommend these 9 or 10 people for the boxing board. Minister work done. Permanent secretary have to go and apply for money, get the vote and give it straight to the boxing board to manage their business. That's the law. Guardian Anika Gums right up front page. Anil Roberts before the Integrity Commission for some investigation. So my lawyers write, Mr. Farrell there at the Integrity Commission, and say, boss, what is this here? We see this headline and so on. Please advise. He wrote back and said, the Minister Anil O.E. Roberts has never been and is never any subject of any investigation regarding any boxing board at this time. I called Jerry Brooks. Now I told my friend, he tell me he's a PNM. Me and mine if he's a PNM. I said Jerry Brooks. Because I called Gabriel Faria first. Because he below Jerry Brooks. I said, yes, Mr. Faria, I have not seen the retraction and so on. My lawyer, boom, 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 boom. Oh, well, we'll be looking into that and da-da-da. No retraction. 3 or 4 calls and then a done call. But he left it. So Gabriel or Gabriel Faria, whatever the hell your name is, when you do people wickedness, it's good for you. Because you allowed lies to stay on your front page, lies that you printed, lies that you put. You had clear, cogent evidence that you printed total lies and you refused to do the journalistic integrity, the correct principle and retract. Just like how all you retract when all you print a little stupidness about Kwame. You retract one time, the retraction bigger than the original story. Douglas, just read all your papers. Yes, because my dogs, there's poo-poo plenty. So I need all your papers to pick it up after. So you see, Mr. Gabriel Faria, when you move without integrity, when you allow that perception to go out there with Anil, Kamla, ministers and so on, in order to allow Rowley to rise, it's good for you. So I can't defend you no more. It's really good for you. Keith Christopher Rowley, think about this now. You're talking about a prime minister. All you're voting for a prime minister. The prime minister is the most powerful human being. Let me tell you, our constitution is something else. That prime ministerial position, you really need to get the best of the best, the brightest of the bright. The people with the biggest heart who really love people. If you have somebody with a stone cold heart who don't like people, people will suffer like never before. And haven't you all had an example of that for the last 4 years and 10 months? If a man will treat his household with disdain, make sure they have no transport, no food, no money, no jobs. If he treats his house like that, his home, the place where he live and grow, what about for the rest of the country? Rowley's from Tobago. Tobago and Tobagonians have never suffered like this in history. Even Winford James, Winford PNM James, I just say, yes, Winford James, I don't care. Try and prove to me. Show me. If you show me out of your last 100 articles, if you show me 30% leaning towards UNC, so 70 PNM, 30 UNC, I apologize. I will apologize to you and retract calling you Winford PNM James. But you see, I read everything you write. So I know there is a kind of cheating because I know the statistics. 96% for 4%. And they call you to write as an independent political observer and then telling me, asking me why people have a perception that that lady you all just saw there, appointed there because I watch on the big monitor, Kamla Prasad Bisesa making an address to the nation on the ballot. That lady, why so many people are willing to say all kind of wrong thing about that lady untrue? Why? Because of people like you, Gabriel Faria, you allowed lies to permeate. So when you get jammed now, I will just note the wrong, but me ain't defending you because you pay for the market fact service to chamber, the wave 1 and wave, and we don't know who pay for wave 2, but I assume it's y'all. And y'all was saying that Rowley was doing so great. Gabriel Faria, trying to put him right back. So take your medicine. Diamond, you like him. Take your licks. Don't cry now. But you all want to put a perception that Kamla Persad Bissessar, you saw the class of that lady, you saw the intelligence, you saw the delivery, you saw the thought, you heard the words, did you listen to the tone? And you want to compare that to Rowley? When Rowley talking to poor people like Rowley, he has already given this speech about 6 times. I know it by heart. We will make a new society. Gone are the days where the government must do everything. We must call on citizens to be responsible, to do and carry their own weight. We cannot have the government for this and the government for that and the government for the other. You must wean yourself off the government. That's the idiotic speech of Keith Christopher Oreo, elitist, dotish, Rowley. The government is there, according to that lady who should be prime minister still and will be prime minister again. The government is there to help those most in need first and foremost. To present an economy of equity, of opportunity for our young people to fulfill their dreams. That's how she grew up. That's how she raised her children and grandchildren. She didn't leave no child for 44 years and then come when somebody in the parliament talks stupidness and say, look, my child, happy Father's Day. She didn't do that. But all you want to compare that with her? Why would you do that? It's chalk and cheese. Listen to your boy Rowley. Rowley on post-COVID recovery. We can't afford a welfare state. To all my poor people, especially my black Afro-Trinbagonian poor people, I'm going to read this for you. The one thing Rowley don't lie about, and listen to Anil Good. The one time Rowley don't lie is when he tell you what his belief, his philosophy, and his policy is. He don't lie. Rowley is telling poor people, fire burn all you. I'm not here to help all you. If all you're lazy and all you cannot get out of poverty like I did, then fire burn y'all. Y'all don't have the character, the class, or the requisite discipline to get yourself up. Well, I am not here to help you. And then my poor people go, yes, yes, Rottweiler. Come on, man. Listen to what the man say. The man tell all you, I will take away those laptops from your children. Yes, Rowley, take my child. I can't buy one, you know. Oh, yes, take it. Them Indians so wicked, they give my child a laptop. Oh, God, them wicked Indian. We better wake. It's about time to wake up. We are shame. Only a shame. I'm going to read for you Rowley's New Society speech he has made on about 5 occasions in the last 2.5 years, stating his policy of what he's going to continue to do. And he lied. That's the only time he lied. And he's going, and what he says is, you poor people, CPEP is rubbish, URP is rubbish, GATE is rubbish, get up and make it and work. No VAT on food, that is a Kamla thing. That is for people who have heart and want you to eat. If you want to eat, says Rowley, get up like me and work. Now if I tell all you plenty time how we eat, I can't divulge that one because that's a personal between my friend and thing, but I know. But he should be the last one to tell people about work hard and eat, because when he in opposition, I know how he does eat. I can't tell all you, right? I can't do that. But I know. And if the Douglas know, all you know. You understand? Let me read Rowley policy. This is what you're going to vote for, you know. Don't let him put up no JW and a JW come and sing Palan and all in red going to the left and you're going to the right and you go and vote for Rowley and get shaft. Let JW sing shaft to the left, shaft to the right and all you go. Don't take chain up from black people to humbug black people. Listen to Rowley policy, you know. Rowley on post-COVID recovery. We can't afford a welfare state. Rowley said, the solution post-COVID-19 must lie in rebuilding TNT's productive sector, creating employment, boosting productivity in manufacturing, trade, and the services sector, improving revenue collection, and reducing unsustainable expenditure. Okay, that's not his fault. That's part of his warm-up. That is where he does lie, right? Because if you all know for 4 years and 10 months, he has not boosted manufacturing. He's not created employment. 103,000 people lost jobs under Rowley before COVID. He has not boosted productivity. He has not boosted trade. He shut down Petrotrin. He took away our exports. We are now a net importer. Under Kamla, we had a balance of payments break even. We are now balance of payments negative, meaning we import nearly everything and export poquito. The services, improving revenue collection and reducing unsustainable expenditure. Did he reduce unsustainable expenditure? Red House, President's House, Prime Minister Residence, Al Rawi Building, 61 million, Franklin Canwife Building, what else? UDCOT Building, he partner who he does play golf with, stadium in Bagatelle, not a ball kick, not a ball hit, nothing going on. Place lock up, don't even let the people go in and use it. Madness. Rowley continued, the solution cannot be. I can't even read it, you know. To my poor black people, listen to your brother here. Because we have to get serious now in a way that the country has never before seen. We have to break all these stereotypes. We have to just throw away the mold. We have to throw away the mold and start again. You see how Uncle Ben's, that exists since 1800, going to change their logo? Aunt Jemima syrup, the best pancake syrup in the world. My daughter does love it. I got to buy a bottle every 3 weeks. They are going to change the logo that was first designed. It changed and adapted and they edited it over the years. But it was first designed in something like 1820. But they now understand that they have to break the mold. In politics in Trinidad and Tobago, we have to break the mold. Cannot keep doing the same thing because look at what this man is going to tell you. Sometimes having information is painful, you know. I know what he's going to do all year. Especially black poor people again. All you done get it already, but you're going to get worse. Wassa workers, TNTech workers. It coming hard, harsh. You feel Petrotrin, you do Petrotrin easy. Listen to what the man is telling you all. The solution cannot be an unsustainable welfare state. So before COVID, wean all yourself off the government. Everything, hospital, road, this and that, and health center, everything must be the government and the government and the government. Well, the government cannot bear that burden anymore. So you have to wean yourself off the government. Remember Rowley with that? But the man tell all you, black people, he tell all you, he not going to help all you. And some all you sit down there with your red jersey. The man say he not helping me. Yes. Over talk Rowley boy. Speech boy. Now, COVID-19 has given him an excuse to go even further than where he was. He is now totally telling you, we have no money to help poor people. We have no money to uplift poor people. We have no money to boost your education system, your parental system, your baby milk grant, your children life fund, your school feeding, your education, your parent, all of your extracurricular activities, your sporting activities, all of these things we're going to cut so we could do big project. Because his team of 22 with a Kobo sweater 23 Vasant on not on the political divide, but he have a triangle. The political divide is here. You're either Rowley and you like sufferation, or you're Kamla and you like progress. Vasant, you're not here. So stay there, Vasant. Stay there with your coward named Makaram self and give another flipping chance. The man is telling you now, poor black people in Maloney, as they dig spade to build a fish pond for all you. A fish pond, 6 lane. The last time, other than the PNM now, which the Mamagai black people in Lavanti first, and now Maloney. So them does only build garbage for black people. The last time before these two pools, a pool was built with 6 lane and boasted about, was 1962. Blue Dolphin swim pool by the barracks on St. Mary's ground. Joey Kaufman and them built that in about 1962. But do you know Edmund Pouchette and them, after a while, widen it? They empty it and widen it to make sure it all enough lane. You go down the aquatic center in Couva, built by Kamla Prasad Bisesa. You have 2 50-meter pool by 10 lanes. If you turn the lane sideways, you have 25-meter lanes by 240 lanes of about 1.8 to 2 meters wide. That is what Kamla built for people. Rowley and them come in and put people in a pond. No lift to put elderly in to do the little water aerobics and so on. No equipment, no glass underneath, no viewing room for when children are doing the technique for coaches to look at them under the water, what they're doing. But he's coming to tell you that the COVID committee says spend plenty money on big projects. Who is big projects? For whom? For whom? For what? Big projects, big contractors. Who doing the procurement? Rowley, Smallpin, Noel Garcia. Who doing the procurement? But all you want to say, other people thief. For other people to thief your money with corporate governance structures, with board, with tender committee, with evaluation, with advertisement, with cabinet note, with F&GP. It's like coming in a building with 12 lock. But you all want to believe that Kamla Indian Anil thief with 12 locks. But when Rowley, Smallpin and Noel Garcia controlling all your money with 1 lock, them a thief. That is a Brinks lock, boy. That lock big. That lock strong. So no thief here with 1 lock. 12 locks here. Thief, we can't be that stupid. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for tonight, you know. All you could decide. You all saw Kamla Prasad Bisesa. You all saw a prime minister, a stately lady. I don't support she because she's Indian. I support her because what she just talked there. She talked there and she has given that a different speech each time for the last 5 weeks. And she ain't even reached 1/4 of her ideas already. I am leaving you with this. 2 questions. 1, please name 1, just 1, innovative new program or policy that never existed before by the cabinet of Keith Christopher Rowley in 4 years and 10 months. Name 1. Kamla brought Children Life Fund. Kamla brought Ministry of the People, Direct Impact, Live Sport. Yes, live sport for poor black boys who killing themselves to get the labor force out of gangs. But Fazal Karim, Tech Voc, from Gate straight up into doctorate. When you are tailor, carpenter and so on, Fazal Karim created a program where your years of experience, you go to them, you get assessed by experts in your field and you get a piece of paper to certify your skill. Fazal Karim did that. So you could take that to the bank now and say, this is my job, I can take a loan, buy equipment, boost your business. This is just off the top of my head. Creative new things, new ideas. Name 1 that Keith Christopher Rowley did. Fuad Khan was starting the biometric card where all our medical data will be on a little card like this with a PIN number and so on. Them stop that. Name one. My second question for you. My black African people now only. Everybody else, close your ears. To my black African people, who they dig in spade to give all your pond a disrespectful. I tell Ollie and Maloney, Ollie better stop that and tell them go back and redesign. And I'm giving you the design. 10 lanes, 25 meters by 20 meters. Electronic lift for elderly and differently able to go in. Glass viewing room underneath with audio-visual equipment, cameras and things to film. Flow over guttering and 20 proper starting blocks, Olympic style, with the backstroke step and block on the inside of the pool and water. Do you all understand? So tell them either that or keep that thing that they want. Because when Kamala come, she will build that correct one for you. You understand? So tell Camille, hold she pond. Kamala come in with a pool. Last question before we go. To my black African people who say, vote PNM because Rowley look like them. I don't know what they want to look like that for, you know. But anyway. After 58 years of independence and 42 years of PNM rule, I ask my black PNM strong supporters who only vote PNM because they don't like Indian, or they don't trust Indian, or only Indian that's thief. And Rohan? Okay. Name one black billionaire created over the years by the PNM. Only hear the question? Name one black Afro-Trinbagonian billionaire businessman created under the 42 years of PNM Black Party, African Party rule. And if you can't name one, vote Kamala. We out.
Accept this any day, and your parents ought to say, what? Black man, come together, jamming, black man together.